Father's Day, we often celebrate dads who we see as providers and pillars of strength. But the truth is, many fathers struggle with mental health challenges and they may not feel comfortable seeking help. Well, Andrew Reiner is here. He is a professor at Towson University. He is author of the book, Better Boys, Better Men. And we thank you very much for being with us today because this is such an important topic.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I want to know, first of all, how prevalent mental health problems are among men. How does that compare to what women go through?
That's a great question. So women typically will experience a lot more anxiety than men will. And so it's not that men aren't anxious. A lot of men are anxious, but a lot of those symptoms get missed by them and by healthcare practitioners. I think really the real difficulty for a lot of practitioners and men is getting their depression treated. Because a lot of times there are symptoms that men have of depression that healthcare practitioners will think, oh, it's chronic stress. And so we'll just kind of look at that. But often the symptoms for depression for men show up differently than they do in women. And so that's what gets missed. And a lot of men don't even realize that they have depression.
So what are the symptoms that men should be looking out for? And then you can tell us the symptoms that maybe family members need to be aware of and may see in their loved ones.
Absolutely. So a lot of times we tend to think of depression as being lethargic, being unable to concentrate, like on weed, being sad. And it's true that men can experience some of those symptoms. But for men, more commonly, you will see things like greater irritability, bigger outbursts, hostility, inability to focus, inability to sleep, and really leaning into a lot of destructive, risky behaviors as well.
What do you mean by that? What kind of?
Sure.
Behaviors?
So, drinking more alcohol, maybe smoking some, weed more often, leading into other kinds of substances, driving faster, more likely to maybe get involved in fights. And actually, this one may sound really odd, working longer hours.
So how can we help the men in our lives who might not be as likely to seek the help that they need?
Sure. I think really one of the things that we can do that a lot of men don't feel safe doing is we can really just have conversations with them about this kind of thing. That it's a lot more common today for men to feel, not just to experience these things, but to start to get help. And we don't want to shame them. That's the last thing we want to do is shame them. But what we want to do is maybe see if there's ways that we can help them a little bit. For instance, maybe say, look, it seems like you seem a little more down than you have been lately. Is there anything I can do to take a little bit off your plate? And the other thing is to maybe initiate, to maybe do a little bit of the digging and legwork around mental health care practitioners and to bring that information back to dad. Because for a lot of dads and for a lot of men in general, that's a step that feels like one that is way too big for them to deal with.
I'm thinking of so many men in that situation where you've asked them, hey, have you considered talking to someone? And they just don't want to do it. So beyond the counseling that a man might be resistant to pursue, what can we do? Maybe try to get them outside, stay engaged with the community. I mean, what is within our hands that we can do to make a difference?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that helps a lot with mental health issues like anxiety, but especially depression, is getting out and moving around. That helps tremendously. It's something I can speak to myself, the power of exercise. But just getting out, moving around, doing different things. But then the other thing, too, is getting them to have more social engagement.
Sure.
And so, there are men's groups. Men's groups are a little bit of a big leap for a lot of guys where they're sitting around in circles and talking about, their struggles and supporting each other. But even if guys are just getting out and doing things, just having more social time, that is a really big start.
All right. So the women need to round up the men. That's our assignment.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. We don't want them to feel more pressure than they already have. Okay. We don't want them to feel like it's a burden, but, maybe just a little gentle nudging.
Okay. Very good advice on this Father's Day. We thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.